Hi everyone, this is Diane. Happy Independence Day, 4th of July to my American friends, and I hope the rest of the world is having a great day as well. I'm not doing anything special today. My kids are working, so we're going to have a cookout on Saturday in honor of the 4th of July. There will probably be fireworks this weekend. I don't know if I'll go. Anyway, I'm a little frustrated today because I spent almost an hour making a video today and I can't get it to upload. And I wanted to show you the embellishments that I was making. I'm working on a design team project for Old Design Shop, and I'm using an ephemera kit. It's ephemera number 4. And vintage ephemera number 4 or something like that. And what I wanted to do was just create embellishments with these pieces of ephemera. And my intention was to just get a bunch of ephemera made and then, have it in a stash. But I decided to just go ahead and put it all into a couple of journals. So I can sell a couple journals this week, hopefully, or early next week. So I spent an hour or so making ephemera for a signature, for one full signature, and you didn't get to see it because it didn't upload. So I will show it to you. I have all the ephemera done for one journal, so I'm making a second set of ephemera for the second journal. So first of all, let me show you this. This is the cover of a journal. It's the New American Home Fix-It book, a vintage book, and it has wood grain on the front. I'll cover these up, I think. I don't know, maybe I won't. It depends. Depends on how I feel once I get the book put together. So I made a large embellishment to decorate the front. I just took a piece of vintage music paper and tore it to the right size, inked the edge, and that will be glued down there. This is a piece of the Old Design Shop ephemera. I did a video showing how I take the ephemera and resize it by selecting a couple different pages and then printing the 2 pages onto 1 page, which makes all of the images smaller. So that's what that is. And then this is one of her images that's printed the regular size. And there's a piece of corrugated cardboard that I put some gesso on, and a couple of pieces of antique lace back there. The music paper again, some loose weave fabric that is frayed, and then this image, and this is all sewn. These two were sewn together. A piece of a doily, and a bulb pin, and a little key charm. So these will all be glued down to the front cover. I think I'm going to try to leave the spine. I'll have to reinforce it, but it's a good width. I think it's 2 1/4 inches, and this is a kind of a puffy book with all of the ephemera that I put in it, so 2 1/4 inches is good for it. So that's the cover. The other book is not going to have an embellishment on the cover because it's got a design on the cover. Oh, here it is. It's a vintage 1950s book, and I love this, so I'm just going to leave that there. So for the first signature, let me show you the pieces that I made. This was from the original book right here. Alright, so this is part of the Old Design Shop ephemera, and I just took a little strip of coffee dyed paper and stitched it with that vine and leaf design on the edge to just reinforce it a little bit. I glued down a piece of vintage music paper. I made sure this edge was glued down really well because this is going to be sliding in and out. I didn't want it catching on that music. And this is just a piece of the ephemera that I inked around and sewed to coffee dyed notebook paper and added a tab and tucked that in there. This piece was inspired by Angie Bunner. So it's just a piece of the ephemera that I distressed with this razor blade tool You can use the edge of your scissors too. And Tim Holtz has a razor blade distresser, but it doesn't look like that. It's a little red thing, I think. But anyway, I inked it and then sewed it to this coffee dyed paper. And this is a scrap of a vintage quilt. And I stamped Style Vintage on it from Paper Tray ink. And there's some couple pieces of vintage lace here and a rusty safety pin, which came from A Tattered Dream on Etsy. And then there's a little Tim Holtz number charm on there. And I took a paper clip with a bead dangle on it and attached this to the page. This had a tear in it, so I just took a scrap of coffee dyed paper and glued it, and then I took one of the downsized pieces and so glued that there. And for here, I took a little coin envelope and put Distress ink on it. Book page, one of the images that was downsized, a piece of a vintage doily. And then on the inside is just one of the pieces that was downsized, and I stitched or glued it to a piece of coffee dyed paper, and it fits right in there. And I sewed a little scrapbook paper to that page to tuck that in there. This is the full-size map, and I wadded it up and wadded it a couple times and squeezed it hard to get all these crinkles in it, and then rubbed some Distress ink over it. Then just folded it like a letter, like that. And this is one of the downsized pieces. I glued that to a piece of craft cardstock, and then I cut another piece of craft cardstock to the right size and glued a paper clip in between. So I just put the small end of the paper clip on the outside of the back piece and then laid this on top, put some glue all over the inside of it, and laid this on top and let it dry. I showed how to do that in the first video that won't upload. And then it just clips right on. And then lastly, I did a library pocket, and this has quite a few pieces of ephemera from the kit. There's this piece right here that was the regular size, and then this was downsized, and I collaged on some fabric and laces and a little bit of lace there. And then this was a full-size piece. I backed it on coffee dyed paper, folded it up, tuck it in there, and then this I just put it on coffee dyed paper and tucked it in there. So those are all the ephemera pieces for the first signature. So now I'm going to work on the second signature, and I see my battery lights flashing, so I don't know how far I'm going to get. So we start off with a large glassine bag that is attached, that's just glued onto the front of the signature. So this will be glued right here. Someone gave me these glassine bags. They were embossed. Can you see the embossing? I rubbed some ink over it. So I am going to cut a piece of this cheesecloth and glue it down here. I don't want it to be terribly much bigger than this piece. This is from the kit, of course. So I just want to cut that. And I usually cut these a little smaller than I want them to end up, because when I pull on them to fray them, they stretch. This is coffee dyed cheesecloth. So that'll just be glued down there, and this will be glued down there. I need my ink. Then I will take a little scrap of the cheesecloth, and that's just going to be bunched up right on the top there, and add a rusty safety pin with a piece of lace hanging on it. And I will glue this little pink flower on and put a tiny little button there, and that will take care of the decorating on the front. So I'm just going to sew around this. I don't want to sew it to the cheesecloth. So I'm just going to sew around it so it looks like it's sewn to the cheesecloth. So I mentioned in the first video that I made, that it didn't get uploaded, that I went back to work yesterday, back to my Hallmark lady job. And I only worked a few hours, but my body's not used to it. We have to lift heavy boxes, and we had a lot of freight yesterday. We had to move a lot of boxes around. Rachel is much younger than me. She's 30, my co-worker. We worked together before I left, and she's so happy that I'm back. And I like working with her. She's very good to work with. Have a little button tucked in there. So she does a lot of the heavy stuff if she's there. But I will have to work by myself probably most of the time. So I just have to be careful. But my body is sore. I didn't even do my housework yesterday. I didn't work yesterday because I was watching my grandsons, but I didn't do my housework because I needed to let my muscles heal. I pulled a muscle or strained a muscle or something in my side. So I don't mean to sound complainy. I'm just saying this is what's going on. But I had a good day with my grandsons. I took them to see a matinee of Toy Story 4 yesterday. I love the kids' movies, and they had already seen it when I was on vacation. And my granddaughter had already seen it, but they said they were willing to see it again, so I took my grandsons while I was watching them, and my daughter-in-law and my granddaughter met us at the theater, so we all watched it together, even though they had all already seen it before. Oops, I'm going to sew this, or glue this little button into the center of that flower. Okay, so that's done. I am going to glue it to the page. It just barely fits on there. Seems kind of dark over here in this corner. I probably need new glasses again. It's been a while. Still waiting for the contractor to come and start working on my roof. I paid more than half of it already 2 months ago. But they're behind because of all the rain we've had. So he said that they would probably be here this week, but here it is Thursday and a holiday, and I kind of doubt they're coming this week. So inside I'm going to put this tag, and I want it to be just a little shorter. So I'm just going to mark here where I want to cut it. I don't have a pencil over here. So. Okay, so I need my little bluebird picture. Wonder if I have one already printed. If I don't, then I'm not going to do it right now. Yep, I do. So this is a downsized one. And this is where I got the little square piece to make the paper clip. Got some pattern tissue here. Getting a stamp. Thought I was done with this stamp, and I put it away, but I wasn't done with it. I'm using this large script stamp from Stampin' Up! To stamp the background of this large tag. And I'm going to use my soft suede Stampin' Up! Stamp pad, ink pad. I overlapped it a little bit, but I like that better than having a gap. You can see the difference between, this is tea dye ink on this one, and this one is vintage photo. This is darker. It's a newer pad, much newer pad, and that one has more yellow tones in it. Too. Kind of got some marks on the back, but that's okay. Okay, now, whoops, throwing my ink pad around. Sorry for all the inking. I did some of it ahead of time, but not all of it. going to take some pattern tissue and glue it down there. And I'm going to look for some pieces of lace. I have 2 pieces of lace here. This one's a little longer. This blue one might be pretty because it's a bluebird. I do like that white eyelet-y looking lace though. Don't have any more eyelet lace in here. This is just my little scrap bin. Well, not exactly scraps, but they're too long to put on a roll, so I just put them in here. If they fit the length of this, that's where they go. Checking out my eyelet options. Actually, I have this really pretty blue that I don't use because I forget about it. Let's try that. Yeah, we're going to use that. Another thing I did in the last video that didn't upload was toward the end of the video I turned my air conditioner on so that I could check the sound quality of the video while that is running. Because if it's not too bad, then I might be able to have it on while I'm doing videos this summer. Otherwise, my videos are going to be short and probably not so many. It gets very hot in this room. So I can check the sound quality, you know, because the video is on my laptop. I just can't get it to upload to YouTube. It gets stuck at 2 minutes remaining. I did it both times. It just stays there for a while and then it abandons the download. I'm almost out of this glue, Fabri-Tac, and I don't have another bottle. I can get it tomorrow when I go to work. I'm pretty sure Walmart has it. work the Hallmark cards at Walmart. But I need it today. Okay. Now I am going to put an assortment of ribbon and lace through this. I had a ribbon spool. Here it is. Wonder if that's too wide. I don't think it's long enough anyway. Got some ribbons there. I mean laces. Oh, I did have some already pulled. Okay, let's just use what we have here. Got this blue ribbon and this one. You can't see them. I keep saying ribbon when I mean lace. So I'm going to just put all three of them through the hole. Even them up. And instead of tying a knot, I'm going to take this eyelash yarn and just tie it around them. And I had a little bulb pin, but I probably lost it. So I'll just grab another. And find a charm to hang from it. I don't know what I do with that bulb pin that I just got. There it is. I just put that through the lace and ribbon. Maybe. There. So that can get tucked right in here. Okay, that one took a little longer than most of the embellishments. So moving right along. We have the map page inside this envelope from A Tattered Dream. I love these little tiny white window envelopes. And this was very simple. I just put some ink around it and put a ticket with some eyelash trim on it. Took the map, the smaller image of the map that I downsized, and stitched it to coffee dyed paper, inked around that. And the map looks really pretty through the window. So I'm gonna put a charm paper clip on this. I'll just actually put this charm on it. a little so I don't have the charms all hanging in the same place. Okay, so I have the envelope. I already inked it. And I actually already inked and sewed the map. So all I have to do is glue the eyelash trim and the ticket on. Just put a little glue there. Stick the eyelash trim on it. Voila. So what page does that go on? Goes on this page. So I use that one. Oh, I had a paper clip right there. Some of these bead dangles I got in a Happy Mail from someone, and I really appreciate them because, like I said before, I don't really enjoy making the bead dangles, but others in that bowl are ones that I did make. But I think most of the ones I'm using are ones that were sent to me. Thank you! Next embellishment. Oh, that's an easy one. And I already did it. It's just printed ephemera that I inked and sewed to coffee dyed paper and put on with a beaded paper clip. So that's done. So lastly, we have this pocket. Maybe we'll get this done before my battery dies. So here's what I have gathered up. I took this is a printable from the kit. I inked around it and I cut a piece of scrapbook paper to fit. And I'm just going to sew that together. I made the scrapbook paper a little bit bigger so it creates a nice little frame. If the camera stops abruptly, I will start another video and finish. So that'll go there, and I have this strip of lace just as a decoration. I want it to be a little shorter, and a little piece of this from the selvage of a fabric. I wanted that the blue circle on there, so I cut it so that I could have the blue circle. And I'll just sew this on. my sewing machine. I need another little button. I'm gonna sew or glue a button right there. Then I'm just going to, if my camera shuts off, I am just going to sew this on as a tuck spot, and I already have this piece inked and stitched to coffee dyed paper. I'll glue this on after I have all that done. There, we made it. I'm going to change my battery and gather my supplies for the third signature's embellishments. While I was waiting for that video to try to upload, I did go through and do the stamping, and I started with a couple of fabric flips. So we're getting there, getting to the point where I can put the pages together, put the pages into the signature rather. Alright, so I will be back with the third signature.